To do this awesome project, you will need candy melts. I used dark cocoa and white chocolate. You will need a 2-liter bottle of soda, and I used some gold spray. Now you're going to want to remove your label. If you were using something like Pepsi or Coca-Cola, it would be perfect because you can actually wrap it around after. I use dark chocolate. It doesn't exactly go with strawberry soda, but I could have colored the chocolate pink, so you know, that's pretty much up to you. And I made a big mistake here. I used a serrated bread knife to cut my 2-liter bottle in half, and I quickly discovered that I should have just used some scissors. Just use scissors, just poke a little hole in there, get your scissors in there. I had to trim all the excess off so it was all even, but it is an extremely easy process with scissors. Now, once you clean up your edges, you are going to want to make sure your bottle is nice and clean. You don't want any water in there. Water and chocolate do not mix. So, the first step will be melt your cocoa. You want to do it in 30-second increments. You don't want to burn the chocolate. I just threw the whole bag in here. And you will just simply put your cover back on the top of your bottle and start spreading. The first layer is kind of like annoying if you have any sort of OCD tendencies, because you will get streaks. It's not going, you can already see there's like streaks in there and light. Do not expect to like fully cover this thing in the first shot. You're going to want to kind of start with the top. The chocolate will kind of run down, so this will make sure that you make sure your top edges are just as thick as your bottom edges. You want to, that's basically the main thing you want to make sure, is that everything is nice and even. You will be gluing the two pieces together after, so you don't want the tops of your molds here to be super thin. Once you are done with your layers, you just pop them in the freezer, and literally while you're working on your second mold, the other one will already be ready to go. You can already feel it try to release from the mold here, and you're just going to do the same thing. You're just going to keep swiping layers on top of layers. I used 3 bags of chocolate melts, so mine was a nice thickness. I used all the dark chocolate on this process. We're actually making this for my stud for his 33rd birthday. I wanted to do something that was just kind of silly and funny and something the kids would get like a huge hit out of, which they did. They just thought it was like crazy. And, you know, I just wanted it to be like something memorable. Now, if you're gonna do it for kids, it would be cool to just wrap the label around it afterwards, because it really does look like a cola soda bottle. Alright, so now you're going to want to just clean up the edges. That way your mold just releases. It just slides right out. I wasn't even able to get that part on camera because the minute it's cold, you'll feel it when you do your layers. It just keeps like detaching from it and it just slides out. Here I just sprayed in some edible gold spray paint. I just wanted it so once he smashes it, it looks all blingy inside. Okay, now you're going to want to take a pan and start to warm it up. This is where we're going to kind of glue our pinata together. You're going to get all your candy and trinkets. I just did a bunch of peppermint patties and mounds, and he loves Reese's Pieces. I also put some toys in it for the kids, and some little notes from them too. You want to make sure the top of your molds are even, so they just glue together. You don't want any like rigid edges or it will create holes. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just putting it on the hot pan, and this is making sure my edges are flat. And then I just start sprinkling in my goodies. I make sure to just kind of layer them. That way it's not just like a ball of, you know, different candies when he breaks it. Little did I know everything shoots everywhere anyway, so this part doesn't really matter. I'm being a little too picky. And I just kind of make sure it is kind of overflowing my mold a little bit. Alright, here I am doing the same thing with the top half, but this time, once I straighten it out, I just glue it right on top of my mold. And this is me just messing around. I knew I wasn't going to put the label on, so I just like spray painted the heck out of it. I wanted it to be blingy and fun. Again, if it was for kids, I'd just put the label back on. I did glue the cap on. I just put some candy melts on the inside of the cap and popped it on. Here I'm just covering my seam with some white chocolate. Obviously, if you're doing the label, this covers that right up. But I just wanted this to be as funky as possible, you know, for the shock value of it for his birthday. So I was just kind of messing around here. It was a lot of fun. The kids got a chance to decorate it also. They sprinkled a bunch of colored glitter candy, or I should say colored sugar, all over it, which you'll see later. And he's not 34, he is 33, so I had to fix that. And now you see it with the colored sugar. It was so cute. The kids did that part. And then I just put it on a cutting board. I wanted it to kind of be presentable. I was going to actually make like a fake spill out of it. But the kids were really crazy. They really wanted to see this thing explode and get beat up. So we just made little spots for where the candles should go. And we wrote, "We love you." It came out super cute, as you can see, and when it was all lit up, it was even cuter. It's a pretty weird thing to get a chocolate soda bottle for your birthday, so it definitely does the wow factor. This is him kind of looking at it, seeing if it's like hollow or not, seeing how sturdy it is. It was actually like really hefty and in good shape. And there it is, he just smashes it. I was gonna give him a hammer, but he wanted to use his fist. And candy went everywhere. The kids were yelling and screaming. It was really cool. So you should try it. It was super easy. It took me about like an hour to do all together. And it is, of course, something you don't forget. Getting on your birthday, a chocolate pinata cake. We had little notes rolled up in there with messages from the kids, and it just couldn't get any cuter. So yeah, thanks for calling. Give it a try.